I've heard of that stress hormone before called cortisol.
Yes.
It's related to stress,
Yes.
and and there's also something I've heard before too, like when people are stressed out or when they're frightened
Hmm.
or they're like holding their breath,
Hmm.
the the blood can't travel to the brain. So it's like you're like stuck. You can't even make really good decisions too. It's like, isn't that all connected as well? It's like there's a bunch of different bodily systems that are being interrupted, right? And
Absolutely.
they, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you touched on that because that was definitely what I wanted to speak about next. With the
Okay.
with the with the foods and stuff that we're eating. Now we have what you call all of these red lines here are
Yes.
inferior brain, or excuse me, inferior um what you call veins. You have your regular
Okay.
veins that you can see, your thicker veins, but you also have inferior veins as well that are smaller that
Hmm.
sends oxygen rich blood and minerals to vital parts of your brain. Now, this here is called the circle of Willis. This is very
Hmm.
important because these are
Hmm.
arteries. These arteries
Hmm.
flow throughout your brain. Now, what's happening because of the foods that we eat, again, and the trauma that we are dealing with, it causes what you call ischemia, hardening of the arteries, and it cuts off the flow of oxygen and blood and minerals to certain portions of the brain because of the flight, fight, or freeze. Yes, that is absolutely 100%. You hit it right on the head. And this is another reason, one of the main reasons on why this portion of the brain is not as developed like it should be. So let
It's
me
and
go
it's
ahead.
because
No,
the ischemia, right? So
yes, it's
that's
called ischemia, hardening of the arteries, which blocks up, which clogs up the vein with mucus, lactic acid, and what it does, it eventually it is shut off. See, at a young age, we don't experience it as much as you feel it when you get older. For example, like if you have a car that only supposed to take premium gas, but you put regular gas in it today, and then you put regular gas in it the next time. So you might not the car, based upon the car, you might not see the devastating effects that happens or occurs right away. So it takes over a portion of a time of damage to continue in order for you to start seeing the residual effects of it. So let me pull up another thing regarding when I was speaking about the brain and how give me 1 second here. All right. Uh, let me
wow,
see.
I can't spell today.
That's right.
Sorry, y'all, I can't even spell today. That's the incorrect spelling of arteries, by the way. I believe that, yeah. Arteries. It might be. I don't know. I'm I haven't seen that word in a while, arteries, but I think I'm close. But ischemia.
Ischemia.
That's ischemia.
Yes, it's called ischemia. All right, let me share my screen one more again
Okay.
so I can, because I want to show people what I mean by the development of your brain and your prefrontal lobe and how important this is.
Please do.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go.
All right.
Now, before I go any further, let me pull this up right here.
Mhm.
Now, this is a neuroscientist. So anyone, you can't YouTube, you can't ban me. You know, I'm not. I'm. This is directly from this scientist's mouth. Frank Amunra is a professor of psychology at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, where he also holds secondary appointments in the UBA Medical School Department of Neurobiology, the School of
Mm.
Optometry, and the Department of Biomedical Engineering. His research is focused on retinal and central visual processing and neuroprothesis. So you can take it up with that individual YouTube. So here we go right here. When I speak about the prefrontal lobe or the frontal lobe and how important that it is, if you had, hold on, let me zoom in on this a little bit here. Let me zoom. Here we go. If you have a large frontal lobe, your behavior tends to be dominated by your current needs and what is currently going on in the world around you. So now listen,
Okay.
If you don't have a large frontal lobe, meaning that you're not thinking, you're not able to use your
Okay.
entire brain, your
Mm,
behavior to be dominated by the current needs and what is currently going on in the world around you. So if you look around the world, children, if you look around, you see people are moving with the world. Oh, I got to pay this bill. I got to go to work. Or I got to do this. Or look at the crime that's on TV. Look at this. So they constantly, their world, their life is dominated by the world that's around them because the frontal lobe of their brain is underdeveloped. You should be thinking beyond what's in front of you. So if you are a lizard, you are either hungry, cold, or hot, or seeking a mate,
mhm.
or in danger of being caught by a predator. You have a number of behavioral repertoires. And if you look at us as children, if you look at the children, they keep you in the constantly same cycle of the same behavior. It's not when you look at one child being angry, you can look at another child being angry. You look at the child, they get happy and angry about the same similar thing. Happy about video games, happy about money. Mad when they lose their cell phone, mad when they can't go outside and hang with their friends. It's the same thing. And because you're like that, the reason why you're like that is because, again, the foods that are being that you are process that your body is processing that is keeping your brain from being fully developed. Once your brain becomes fully developed, you become less attached to worldly things. You don't look at the world as they want you to. You look at the world as it is. So you have go ahead. I'm sorry. You have a question?
No, I just really want to say something about that because you know how you notice like in a lot of schools you
Mm-hmm.
find that children aren't listening. I think it might be related to this because when like the first 7 years of their lives, if their brains are underdeveloped, right, that's number one. And then
That's
they,
right.
depending on what they're watching, a lot of them watch or play violent video games,
Yes.
or there's all these things going on. And then there's the Halloween candy. I've seen children, like when I go to the store, I see children like just constantly on the like little ones like 2 and 3 years old. They have the screen right in front of their face, just constantly, like just constantly, just to keep their child quiet. And in the store, they should be paying attention. That's an opportunity for them to learn how to read or pay attention to labels, or that's a teaching opportunity. That's what I do. But you see a lot of the parents just giving their children devices and the Halloween candy. I mean,
Yes.
there's children as young as 2 and 3, and you said something about the sugar, which is the
Yes.
ischemia. So it's like this huge attack, and these children seem like they're comatose, damn near, because
Absolutely.
so when these children don't listen, like I just had this recent experience where this one child, he was having difficulties. All he wanted to do was watch TV, and he was having difficulties. And even when I told him, no, sit down, you're going to be okay. Just here, let me give you some toys. Here's a puzzle. Here's some mag formers. Let's do something and figure it out with your imagination. It's like he had this one track mind, and it's related to this. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. No question.
Okay.
Once we feed them better, the brain starts to heal and
Okay.
develop differently. And once that happens, then they're more intrigued in what their development is as opposed to what's being fed to them. You see, they'll be more concerned with their personal development. And we're not concerned with our personal development because we're just eating foods that are keeping us what you would call in our lower part of our brain, which is the mammalian. And that's an animal part of our brain because animals only looking for food, shelter, and mate. That's something we're past that. We were the first herbalists on this planet. We were the first ones that mapped the stars without having a GPS. We were the ones that built megalithic structures around the planet that lined up with the cosmos. So we went from doing that to literally working 9 to 5s at jobs that does us no good. Children sitting inside of a building all day without any sunlight at all. They're getting a bell rung into their ear every 30 to 45 minutes. That's not
Mm.
helping them at all, along with the foods that they are being fed. So they're literally being trained or like animals inside of a zoo. inside of a cage. That's why when I look at school as like housing animals. That's what they want to do. And that's the etymology of the word school anyway, is to train a dog. It means skole, which is to train a dog or to hold you back. So that's exactly what when I see our children, that's exactly what I see. And it's a sad thing.